Hi, I'm Sabrina Troback with Troback Holistic Counseling. This week is video 6 and it's for parents. And this week's video is about understanding behaviors and using a bit of a timeline to help better understand why our children are showing us the behaviors they're showing us. Often when we see a behavior that we don't really like or appreciate, we really just try to kind of stop the behavior, kind of put out the fire, rather than really figuring out and understanding why the fire is burning in the first place. If we just keep trying to put the fire out, we're always having to put the fire out. But if we can figure out why it's burning in the first place, we can be proactive and put things in place to prevent the inappropriate behavior from happening. Over time, we often see the behaviors getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but we often don't really notice or intervene until the behavior is really big and we're seeing the real negative behaviors that then cause us concern. So then we go and engage and help try to manage the behaviors. But the more we become aware and see how the behaviors are slowly changing over time, if we can intervene at a lower level, that behavior doesn't have to be as extreme or significant. So for example, if we have a child who gets in a fight with their sister because their sister is really super annoying, if we want to look back at what was going on in that child's life throughout the day, we realize that at lunchtime, the banana got squished in their lunch, so they weren't able to eat all of their lunch. They got in a fight with their friend. They didn't understand the math lesson. And then when they got home from school, the sister was just being their sister, but the child couldn't handle it anymore because of all the things that had happened in the day. So we see the behavior thinking that they're fighting, brother and sister are fighting, but really there may be something more significant going on here. Other events that happen throughout the day where the sister is really more the camel that's breaking the straw that's breaking the camel's back. So looking at the behaviors is one thing, or looking at the incidences, but we also have to look at the emotional impact that those incidences had. So for example, if we look at, banana getting broken into your lunch, that creates a bunch of emotion, frustration, anger, disappointment, sadness, powerlessness. Getting into an argument with a friend creates emotion as well. Feeling like you don't belong, feeling rejection, abandoned, fear, lonely, sad. Not understanding math, powerlessness, insecurity, self-doubt, fear, anger, frustration. All those emotions are building and building and building. So now when they get home from school and they get in a fight with their sister, they're lashing out of all this emotion that's been going on. So while the events are very important to understand, we also need to really look much deeper and have a better understanding of what's the emotional impact of all of these events that have happened. Another thing that can really fuel fires in behaviors is feeling disconnected. So if we're not really spending time and connecting with our children, the chances we're going to see some inappropriate behavior become significant. And part of that is just life. When you get home from work and you've got to make supper and get things organized, you can't sit and spend time with your children. But if you think back and look at when's the last time I really engaged with my child, if it's a half an hour, an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's probably part of what's fueling the behavior. The child is acting out because they want to have that sense of connection. Children have learned that negative behavior or negative attention is better than no attention at all. So they'll often have negative behavior in order to get that negative attention because they know that that is going to draw you in and get you to give them some attention. And they'd rather have that negative than no attention at all. So there are some things that we can do to really work on trying to prevent these fires from growing. So we're dealing with the behaviors at a lower level before they become really intense. Part of that is we want to make sure we're making a connection. It's good to just check in with your child, asking them how they're doing, smile at them, give them a high five. Little connections like that throughout the day go a really, really long way. If we see behaviors before they become really extreme, we want to also remind them to take a break, breathe, relax, and calm themselves down. We also important to remember to ask them several questions. Some really good questions is what are you doing, or how are you doing? What are you feeling? And what can I do to help you or support you? These questions really validate a child and make them feel heard and listened to. They create that sense of connection that is really, really, really important. It's also good to take some time and do some calm things with your child. So if you see slight behaviors escalating, or you haven't really spent some time connecting in the last few hours, do something calm and quiet with them. Read a book, draw a picture, play games, play Lego. Talk to them about their emotions. Talk to them about what their emotions feel like in their body. Spend quality time with them where you're working on creating that connection. We need to look well beyond the behaviors, and rather than just trying to put out the behaviors, we need to understand what's feeding them in the first place. The better we get at being able to do that, the better we're going to be able to manage their behaviors and teach them how to manage their behavior as well. That's all for this week's video. Have a good summer. You got this.